Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and a subscriber asked a question. This is what I want to see in the comment section these days. People actually asking meaningful questions. Now, part 2 of that question, that's almost pretty much its own video. I don't even know if I could cover that in a single video. That's a very involved question. Like if you go read something like Alex Viada's The Hybrid Athlete book, that entire book is kind of dedicated to just trying to answer that question. So that's a little bit tougher. But the first question, easy. Yes, the cross-sectional area of a muscle, which again you guys know as hypertrophy or gains, that is what determines the potential force production of a muscle. The more cross-sectional area you have in the muscle, the more muscle fiber thickness you have in a muscle, the more force it is capable of producing. And force equals strength, it equals power. And that goes because of each individual muscle fiber. And that's assuming it's coming from muscle mass. One of the reasons you always see people talk about the big bodybuilder who's weak is multifold in nature. It's not as common as you would think it is. And it's because of site enhancement, large amounts of site enhancement, site injections that have created large amounts of scar tissue and oil deposits all through a muscle, which is pretty much ubiquitous in bodybuilding. You don't see pro bodybuilders these days who don't have large amounts of site enhancement. So that can create an illusion of having muscle that's not always really muscle. And particularly if it's in certain support muscles they need, it's going to reduce the function of that muscle through all their exercises as far as the strength and the force that they can produce. Number 2, they're not going to always be good at the motor patterns because they don't practice them. Meaning you're not going to be good at a squat or a bench press if you don't practice them. You're not going to be nearly as good as if you actually did the exercises and you trained the motor pattern and motor unit learning. So strength is really a function of how thick a muscle fiber is versus your motor unit learning. How many muscle fibers you can recruit, how good you are at performing the actual movement pattern that you are trying to use the force on and be stronger at. But strength will always come from the cross-sectional area of a muscle fiber because your body simply cannot produce more force than the muscle itself is physically capable of doing. And your nervous system and the actual, what people think of as neural efficiency, the motor unit learning from the training, will determine how effectively you can use that cross-sectional area because of how fast you can recruit muscle fibers and how good you are at performing the movement itself, the actual motion. In this case, like a bench press, the actual bar path involved, how much you've practiced that will affect how strong you are at it. But at the end of the day, it is important to remember, yes, motor unit learning is very important, neural efficiency is very important, but the strength potential of a muscle will always be determined by the cross-sectional area of the muscle fibers. So remember, a bigger muscle is always a stronger muscle. And the bigger that you can make any muscle involved in any exercise or movement you're trying to do, the stronger that you will be at it, and there will be a direct proportionate increase. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.